And sooner or later, it's going to say that the Hangout on there is live. Okay, volume 11 of, I don't know, live programming in F sharp. So I've been pumping out a series of videos from absolutely a blank slate of building a imaginary app that imaginary app called Get Ride. It's like almost 2 o'clock in the morning right now, and I'm having a hard time sleeping. So I figure that I might as well try to be productive and pump something out. But anyways, so there's a Get Ride app that I've been building in F sharp and demonstrating, aka practicing type-driven development along with test-driven development in that order. Okay. And so in the last video, I was within the account domain. Let me scope to this, not account domain. I was in the ride domain, okay? And within the ride domain, I was adding functionality to support canceling a pending ride. But before I do that, there's a couple things I want to do. That's ride specification here. That's what we want. Yeah, I want this to be ride.test. So I need to update this name of the DLL. Okay, that's what I want over here. And enter over here. I want that to be ride.viewModels. All right. And over here, if I do, hold up, what's happening? That enter, that needs to be ride.domain. All right. Okay, so as I was saying in the last video, Shift Alt or Control Shift B to build. In the last video, I was adding functionality via test-driven development for canceling a pending ride. Okay. Uh-oh. Oh, this should build. And so I already had a test up here. Of course, I changed the test name, I think. But the test that I added was confirm cancel ride request. Okay. The build succeeds. If I run everything, then everything should go green. Okay. And there's a test, not run test. Why isn't this run over here? I thought I said run everything. Why is this not being run? That's not cool. Why is this not being run? Hold up. Build succeeded. Okay, so why aren't you being run? If I right click here, that's strange. Let me go to home and let me run everything again. And this is throwing me off right here. But I think I only have 10 tests. Anyways, let me close the solution and then reopen it. Okay. And then I'm just going to go over the latest code that I wrote for canceling a pending ride. And hopefully everything should just run and there shouldn't be any Test Explorer bugs. So I have my Not now. I have my ride.specification folder, and I have my cancel ride test right here. And this is the logic that I wrote for canceling a ride. I had already had a cancel ride in here a couple videos before, but in the last video, I was writing the logic for, well, if you cancel a ride, you probably want to confirm that you want to cancel. And hence, that's when I started writing this code in the last video. And I'll take you through it. If I run all the tests now, it discovers 10 tests. All this is going to go green. And yeah, okay. So this confirm cancel ride request, I have a list of handlers, okay? Handlers for a cancel being requested and handlers for a cancel being confirmed. This is the support that I injected into my view model for getting a ride, okay? In addition to this dependency injection, whatever you want to call it, I also inject, some passenger and some mock requests for getting a ride. But for canceling and confirming a ride, these handlers are necessary. Hence, for cancel requested and for cancel confirmed. So when I set the pickup for a ride and I set the destination for a ride and I execute the request for a ride, all this is my setup. But then I decide, oh yeah, and let me say that the result of this executing a request for a ride is going to be a pending ride, right? It's not an actual ride yet. The ride is pending. And then so as this is all the setup right here, the actual test is to cancel my pending ride. And so that logic for canceling a pending ride is, okay, within my cancel command, in my view model, if I go to cancel ride up here, I examine that I actually have a pending ride within my view model. If I do have a pending ride in my view model, which is this right here, and this is a pending ride here, I then create a copy of the handlers that I injected into my view model, hence right here, for cancel requested and for cancel confirmed. Those handlers that I originally injected into my view model, I create a copy of, okay? And I add an additional handler for my cancel confirmed called on cancel confirmed, which is this function right up here. And I am basically doing a pattern match on the event of a ride being canceled. And this is going to give me my pending ride. And if I do hit this ride being canceled, and this whole on cancel confirmed is basically relying on outside logic, right? Or how can I say this? This on cancel confirmed is relying on a message that this view model subscribes to, that, hey, in the event that I receive a message that the ride has been canceled, I want to respond to it. That's what this function right here is doing. This is a handler for when a ride is canceled, right, that's outside the scope of this view model. This view model just receives a notification. That's all it does. And so when it does receive that notification that a ride was canceled via pattern matching, it will take that, in this case, this should be a pending ride, and it'll go ahead and invoke a request.cancel of that ride, and it'll set that canceled property on the view model to true. Okay, so that's the logic that I had added. If we look at this cancel ride right here, there is an update in one of my types where I actually have a tuple that I broadcast to my handlers dot for cancel requested. That is this right here. So in my handlers type for a cancel requested, I actually not only have a pending ride that I'm going to operate on as a parameter, but I also have a handlers, right? This handlers is again for cancel requested, for cancel confirmed. And so what I'm doing is I need to be able to take the existing handlers for a cancel confirmed, and in this, or for cancel requested, and I need to make a copy and add another handler onto it. And I know the way I'm saying this sounds very confusing and butchered. Now, I'm not going to lie, it took me a while to come up with this logic right here. But this is on GitHub. This is on my GitHub /bizmonger/git-ride. And you could just examine the code for yourself. It's kind of, I admit, it's kind of hard for me to explain right now. I'm sure if I attempt this a couple more times, it'll be more coherent or clear. But this is my attempt at functionally handling a confirmation interface. This is essentially what it is a would-be passenger requests a ride, and then they change their mind and they cancel the ride. And then there's a interface that is presented to them, hence a confirmation interface saying, are you sure you want to cancel? And they say yes or no. And so this is my attempt of handling that functionally, right? So hence we have this handlers that is actually a copy of the original handlers that we injected, but we append for our cancel confirmed property, our on cancel confirmed that's going to actually execute the cancellation of that ride. I don't know how to say that any other way, right? So that's just something I have to work on in future videos. And I mean, that passes, right? Which means that the don't confirm request to cancel pending ride, this test up here was updated. This was originally named something else. Originally, this test was called cancel pending ride. And up down here for the verification stage of this test, the viewModel.canceled was supposed to equal true. But this logic changed when I decided to add in the confirmation. So hence, when you look at the setup, I have my handlers in here, which is an empty list of functions for each property. Hence, for cancel requested and for cancel confirmed, I don't have any handlers on here. I set my pickup, my destination, and I request a ride. Right, that's all my setup. In my actual test stage, I cancel, right? But remember, I recently added support for if you want to cancel a ride, you need to confirm that you want to cancel. And then upon confirmation, your ride is canceled, right? So that actually changed the logic here, where now my viewModel.canceled should equal false. Why should it equal false? Because there's no confirmation logic that I put in here to actually cancel the ride, which means that the ride isn't canceled, it's still pending. If it was canceled, then I would require a cancel requested handler function, right? Which is what I did right here. So this is I'm gonna keep this video, all right, and I'm just gonna keep going. But that's kind of hard for me to explain. It's still kind of fuzzy, and again, it kind of took me a while to figure out the logic for that. So now what? Well, there's something that I need to fix unrelated to cancel. It's forgetting a ride. So what does that mean? For forgetting a ride, I have these tests where they I have these tests where no, it's not get a ride. It is my accounts domain. Let me scope to this over here. There's something I want to add on here. In my accounts domain for a valid card results in successful add bank card operation. All this right here is assuming that all the data that's provided for adding a new bank card, all this is valid, right? All these fields are validated. This is the right data. Everything just works. But this is like user input. So what I really need to have, in addition to this valid card results in successful whatever, add bank card operation, is I should have a test for an invalid card does not result, or I should have invalid card fails in add card bank operation. So that's the test I need to add. And so over here, I'll say something to the effect of card with invalid field results in failed add bank card operation. And that invalid field, well, that's probably not right. I should say it is a invalid what? Invalid card number. Card with invalid number results in failed bank card operation. Okay. And so right here for the viewModel.card number, we're going to make this an alphanumeric value, like this isn't a number for a card. Okay, that's the test. And a bank card accepted property for this view model should equal false. Okay. Now, I think what's going to happen is this test is going to fail because I have logic where I just assume in the view model that the card number is an integer and I just attempt to parse it. I don't try to parse it. I just attempt to parse it, assuming that's an integer. So I expect an exception to be thrown, and which means that if an exception is thrown, this test should just fail. So if I run this test, run all, I should now have 11 tests for my get ride application. I really want to beef up my PC, and the test fails. Okay. So why did this fail? I'm willing to bet it failed because within my submit function of my add payment types view model, and that should be called add bank card. We'll call this add. No, I'm going to. Well, what's the name of the? Yeah. Okay. We'll call this add bank card. Add bank card. Okay. And this over here is going to be remove bank card. Okay. Let me go back. The reason why that failed is because I have, OCD is taking over. Come here. I have logic over here somewhere. That's remove bank card. Add bank cards over here. I have logic over here that is attempting to just int32.parse, in this case, a card number. And in the test that I have, I purposely put in letters, right? Or alpha characters. So that's not going to work. And to demo that, am I able to put a breakpoint right there? No, it does the whole thing. So what I really want to do is I want to do a int64 dot, and it should be a try parse. And that is going to, how can I do this? This try parse takes the string and then it takes a ByRef int64 value as a second argument, and it returns a bool. So over here, I probably want to add a function right here saying let and say try parse number. Okay. And that's going to take this will maybe eventually get migrated into the domain library of this account. But this is going to take text, and that text is going to be of string, and I'm going to basically say this right here. I'm going to say how am I going to do this? I could say if int64.tryparse text, and over here it says I'm supposed to use a ByRef int64. That's going to be, if this is C#, this would be the actual number that gets parsed. Okay. That's going to be the output. And so, and that output is going to be a number, not a text, right? It's going to be the numeric version of this text field right here. So how do I haven't done this in F# before, but I don't know if it's as simple as if I say let number. Uh, I don't know how I do this. Do I say number and then I say int 64 like this and equals 0? Do I do something like that? I'm not sure yet. And then I just throw this in here. And then I say, then maybe I return a number. Um, or I would say I return some number, else I return none. Is that it? And do I put by ref in here? By ref int 64. Do I do that? And it doesn't like the fact that is this supposed to be, let's try parse. Is this supposed to be mutable? See, I don't know any of this. Okay. Over here, it says incomplete structured construct at or before this point, expected equal. Yeah, oh, okay. I did that right there. It says now by ref is not defined. Well, I don't know what you want me to put in here. Do I put in the number in here, like here? No. So I'm not sure if I just put a number like this. This expression was expected to have type int64 ref, but here as int64. So what, do I put ref? And what's this over here? This expression was expected to have int64, but here has int. Okay, so do I do int64 like this? And do I do this type of cast? I have type uint. Why are you expecting to have type uint? Number int64. See, I don't know any of this, man. What do you want? This expression was expected to have int64, but here has int. Okay. So that's why I put int64 right there. And then it said that the expression was expected to have type uint, but here is type int. If I put uint 64 like this, see, I don't understand this right here. So let me go to F sharp and say int 32 dot try parse, and maybe there's a example. And F sharp snippets is over here. And why is this? Why is there so much code right here? I just want the try parse part. Type in 32 private. I mean, this looks like the actual implementation, but I just want to see how it's used. So here they say try parse equivalent for string, and they have 1, 2, 3. F sharp string to int conversion. Yeah, I know I'm supposed to use what's this over here? Some int equals some string, boom, boom. But that's not guaranteed. I need a safe way of doing that. Is valid. The easiest way is just use the end function. Apart from that, everything just works elsewhere. Is valid in F sharp as well, such as this right here. I want to. I don't want to use an exception. I don't want to rely on the exception when I attempt to parse this. Um, and this is saw C sharp. And I'm probably going to delete this video. And over here, they have an ampersand. If int dot try parse ampersand result, they have mutable result up here. Okay. So they have a let, and they have mutable right here, and they assigned it 0, which still complaining about this right here. N64 by hearts and 64. This should compile, man. Do I need to do this? I don't understand this. Um, I don't understand this. N64, like, it doesn't matter. Like, what am I supposed to put here? Expression was expected to have type uint. Well, it's not uint, it's an int64, but here it's type int. So how do I assign a F sharp? How do I say that something is going to be of type long? So for example, do I put a L? Do I put a I? This isn't clear to me. F sharp. 64. Type conversion F sharp N64 to int. That's not what I'm looking for. And It's not what I'm looking for. This might be it right here. They have L. So can I do this? Okay. We're halfway there. All right. So I have this number, that function. I'm going to have some number. Okay. So then I can have try parse up here. And I don't need try parse number. I could just have try parse like this. Okay. Of course, this is, yeah, yes, I do. I have try parse int 64, something like this. And then I can take this card number like that. And this card number is still a string. Okay. And so that is going to, how is this going to work? That is going to result in a option type. So I'm going to have some, and then you have some value, and you do something like that. Or I could, like that. Or I could have, how does this work? It's not going to work either. That's what I want though. So your card number is going to be, we can just return how would I accomplish this? So it's going to, this try parse is going to return something or nothing. But in here, I'm forced to, I can't just, if I put none in here, all right, let's just assume that I had none in here. Okay. Like, I can't do that. Even if I wanted to. Let's let card number equal, okay. And then we'll have a try parse card number like that. And that needs to pipe into a function. Okay. And so I could put this over here, put you over here, and then we could bring you guys down here. Okay. Now what? That would be card number. I think card number is already used somewhere else. So we have card number up here, card number right here, and that's N64, and this is supposed to be L. Okay. Which means that I should be able to do something like this. Card number is going to take N64. That's fine, that's fine. So what are you complaining about over here? The value constructor is not defined. Maybe you want one of the following. Okay, because it's a typo right there. That's okay. Now, does this solve my problem at all? Maybe. The intent is to submit a card. If the card just has 0, then it's just going to fail. But the whole point is to take the string of card number and get that into a numeric format. Okay. That still doesn't really solve it though, because 0 isn't the card number of this string up here. And let me see. So now what? Yeah, I'm not sure what the best way of handling this is. What I really want to do, yeah, this card number, when you try to parse it, in the spirit of TDD, says you just write it until it passes. All right. But I just think that even though this would pass, no, see, I don't like this. Your okay, so it's going to be, you're not guaranteed to have a card number. So maybe I should just accept that. Okay. Maybe I should accept that you're not going to be guaranteed to have a card number. Okay. So, which means that this card number right here, this is going to be an option. Uh-oh. This is going to be a, shoot. That card number is a string. This card number right here, N64. I shouldn't have to make this an option. Like, this should just be a card number, period. Make illegal states unrepresentable. A card number is a card number. I should have to change this to N64 option up here. But what I'm running into is this try parse N64 is going to be an option of some actual number or nothing at all. And that's where I'm getting stuck at. This card number right here of the record. Okay, that can be an option. What else? Same thing for the expiration date, and security code. We all know that that's supposed to be a number. Okay. So I think this is going to be it right here. And so if I go back to my add bank card, then I think this line should compile, and I'm going to have squigglies that continue to remain on here. And these are int 32 parse, right? So do I really need to, I'll probably post a question on Stack Overflow. This is going to be the same logic. The only difference is this string is really long, but I mean, and of course, this still didn't compile, but I'll have a similar function, and I got to figure out how to consolidate the code. Is how do you represent 32? 32 is L. Okay. 32 is a lowercase L. 64 is uppercase L. Int 32 is L or none. Okay, so I don't need anything right there. And this would be int 32. So you have your int 32 dot parse. Okay. And yeah, this stuff I need to post a question on. Like, this is the same code. The only difference is the type is different, hence int 32. And I need to figure out. Something tells me inline. It's just not clear to me. So that would be this right here and this right here. Okay. Now this card number, I still hit the same thing. This card number is going to, fuck. I'm still hitting the same thing with card number. Like, the language is forcing me to go down a certain route. And again, a card number is a card number. Like, it would be easy if I just made this an option, but it's not, right? I shouldn't give in to that. So this is constraining me right now. So what else can I do? Okay, well, I can say, we'll comment that out, and I can say, the name of this function is called not validated card. Okay. That not validated card is still not validated. Okay. Because it's not validated, then maybe it's okay for me to have invalid values in here. So, for example, you have number and then you have uh, -1, okay? Because the context of this is the card isn't validated, which means that it could have garbage data in here. And so that makes me feel a little bit better like that. Um, -1L, okay? So then this card number here, I can return back to that and everything compiles. Again, because this is not a validated card. So because it's not a validated card, I can throw whatever information in here because it still needs to get validated eventually and they'll get caught. So that makes sense to me. What else? This right here, this is bloating my view model logic. And so I need to move this into some utility. But I can't because this is specific to an invalidated card, hence it's returning -1. It's returning a number even though it can't parse the text. So this logic belongs in the view model based on this particular context. So I can't migrate that to some utility function. Okay. So if we go back to our card with invalid number results in failed add bank card operation. Now what? Well, if I execute this test, let me just try to forecast what's going to happen. We have our not validated card, and then we attempt to add a bank card. Okay. That attempt to add a bank card right here, I should have a Shift F12 in my test API. This is always going to pass okay. And so this is just my test API. This test API represents some external system. Well, some of these functions in the test API is going to represent an external system. This is called successful attempt, right? And there should be a unsuccessful attempt as well. Everything should still build, but I have all these red squigglies. So after I build and I still have these red squigglies, this is throwing me off. I'm going to close out the solution or close out Visual Studio, relaunch Visual Studio, and then all these red squigglies should be gone because this is distracting me right now. Yeah, so everything succeeds, but I still have these red squigglies. So boom. Okay. So I'm back now, and the red squigglies went away. And we have a successful attempt. And let's add in our test API a failed attempt. Uh-oh. Uh-oh. Failed attempt. And that is going to be a error. And that's probably going to require a more than likely. How's this work? Your attempt is add bank card failure reason. And the failure reason is this right here. Okay, so there can actually be some logic on the client side before it hits an external system that does some pre-validation. But right now, we'll say error, and then it'll be a part number. It's the failure reason dot card number. And that's going to be I don't know, some error. Now, what we really need is a function in our account dot. Am I scope to this? Scope to account. And in our account dot domain, we have a new file. I shouldn't be using the mouse. We have a new file called validate. Okay. .fs. And this is going to be our module account.domain. Okay. Or we can just add a get rid of validate right here. No, we won't. This converter is over here. It needs to be namespace, account.domain, and then you have module, and then converters equals. And then you do that. And of course, that's going to break my solution. Or you have namespace, and then you have domain like this, okay? And if you had it like that, then this validate wouldn't be needed. And then you would have a, over here, you would have a let validate uh, card number. You could do that. And then you could say, this would be text, right? And string equals. And then we can take the functions that we wrote up here. Where is it at? We can take the functions that we wrote up here and go back to our converters, and that's, we need to name converters to, I don't know which one to name this. I don't know what I want to name this file. Account.domain. Call it core maybe. And yeah, I'm not sure what name I want to give it, but you have this validate card number, and that's going to be false right now. Okay. And we'll have these operations here. That's in the context of our account domain, right? And we've got an open system. Okay. System probably should come before here. Okay. And now what? Well, we'll do for our validate card number. We'll say try parse 64, and we'll put in the text. Okay. And we're basically going to say if try parse 64 text in this case, we can return some number, and then else we can do none. Okay. And same thing over here for the 32, we can do some number none. And so then we can just do something like this and say try parse 64. And you could do something like this. Shoot, come here. Text pipes into try parse 64. And we could then say that's going to pipe into a function that is going to be sum. If it's sum, then it is going to We don't care what it is. It'll be true. Um, and if it's none, then it's going to be false, right? Like that. And that looks okay to me. And we can even do something like this. We can even say text up here, function like that. Okay. And then we can get rid of this over here. Um, we do something like that. Okay. I'm so smart. Okay. Something like that. Oh, I can't do that. Hold up. Why can't I do that? Duh, 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 duh. Oh, yeah, because I didn't do a text dot try parse and then call that function up here. And then, I don't know. I'm not sure if that's pretty or not, but I guess it's not. I guess I could put it like this. Yeah, I'll put it back. And then we'll just have that right there. Okay. So that's validate card number. And we'll also have what? And we'll have a validate validate month. And I don't know if I should call it validate month or just validate short digits, something like that. Okay. And that would be try parse 32. Right. And short is misleading, right? Because I think short is 16. But let's say validate digits. This could be validate long digits. Then if I'm using this, then this is no longer like in reference to the domain. Like I'm not using nouns or ubiquitous language of a card number and a credit card and stuff like that. This is kind of abstracting things away. And so in a way, I think there's some value in, I'll do this, validate month, and I'll do over here, validate year. And this is expiration month, right? Expiration month. And this is expiration year. Okay. This makes me want to have a module called validate. and I have card number, and I have expiration month, and I have expiration year, like that. Now, that is really going to be a let private that's going to be a I don't know what I want to call it. A int 32 or can parse int 32. Okay. And that's going to be a text string. Okay. And that's going to take the text here and do that. So then we just say that's 64. So can parse 64. We'll do the same thing with 32. Something like that. And text can parse 64. Okay. And then over here, we'll have the same thing set to private. And we'll set that to 32 and 32. And we'll have this equals text can parse 32 like this. And same thing over here. Something like 32. Okay. Okay. And okay. Now what? Control Shift B. I'm going to have build errors, add bank card, and we return to this whole not valid card thing that I was running to in the first place. But what I really want to do is I want to say that when you hold up, where am I at? When you attempt to submit, oh God, come here. This thing is buggy, man. This preview of Visual Studio. When you attempt to submit a not validated card, what should happen is this. Where am I at? This not validated card right here should now be your card number should now rely on up here, and we should say we're now in our domain we're in our account.domain and account.domain.validate. So we should go up here and say account.domain dot. It doesn't even know what account.domain is. Namespace account domain. And I want to say, thought it was validate over here. Okay. And what I want to do over here is it doesn't know what toType is. Why isn't this being recognized? It's not defined. Well, can I build this? That succeeded. Okay. So if I attempt to build this, it should recognize account.domain, account.domain.validate. And it's not recognizing it. But I don't know if that's just a Visual Studio bug. So I'm going to close out Visual Studio again, reopen it. And see if I still have the red squiggly. Okay, so now this is actually being recognized. So this preview of Visual Studio is buggy. Down here, this card number, remember this is a not validated card, right? That we're assigning this card to. So we should be able to say card number equals, I want to say something like if what? I want to say, if validate dot what? Dot card number. I want to say if not validate card number, then return 0. Else, then I could say what's over here? Then I could do a int.parse int 64.parse card number, like that. And that's 0L. Okay. And this is card number, like that. Card number is supposed to be a string. I thought this not. Why is this not working? I thought there was a not on here. I thought not was a function in F sharp. Oh, I have to do something like that. Okay. So if not, validate that card number. Then if we can't validate it, then return 0. Else, if we can validate it, then parse card number. Or you can say this: if validate card number, we could say something like if is validated over here. And so something like that. We could say if is validated card number, then we can do this right here, else 0L, all right? And so we're doing the order of the happy path. Okay. And then we can follow the same type of flow or logic for this over here. So your expiration date, this year, we can say we could say right here, if is validated dot then expiration year, and then we can delete that and delete that. Then we can say if is validated expiration year. Actually, we need to bring you down on. Then we can say int 32 dot parse expiration year. Okay. Else, you say just 0L. Okay. Or we could just say this could be -1L. This can be -1L. But this is not L, it's 32. Okay. And then the same thing over here for security code. We can go over here and say, hold up, my OCD is taking over. Okay, so that's billing address over here. And then for the security code, we can do the same thing. We can say, if is validated, and we're missing security code. Security code. And then we put in our security code. Okay. Then and say, let me just copy paste this right here. Security code like that. And so over here, we can have our let security code like that. Okay, can't parse in 32. Yeah. And so that should be straight. All right. And I want things to I want patterns to belong together. Kind of like that. Okay. That would make me feel better. Okay. And okay. That would make me feel better. And honestly, this right here, I didn't mean to do that. Something like that. Okay. I'm not sure if that's gonna work or not. Yeah, X that out. Okay. Control Shift B. Now, all this should build, and something that I still need to do is when we actually submit this not validated card, that's still in my test API. So I added this function called failed attempt. This should also be error. Okay. Error what? I think that's a error description of something. Okay, you could say fail to remove card like that. Okay. Okay. And you could say that's fine right there. This failed attempt somehow needs to be incorporated into my test for there should be a card with invalid number. Okay. Mock successful attempt. And that's successful attempt. This is failed attempt. So I should be able to say mock failed attempt like that. Okay. And it should fail on here without throwing an exception though. Or due to this card number, but without throwing an exception like it did previously. When we attempt to add a bank card and execute that operation, our bank card accepted should equal false. Okay. So we can attempt to run this and everything passes. And I'm going to sleep because it's 3:16 in the morning. This was a challenging exercise for me. It got me in trouble a little bit, but yeah, I did it. So it's a view model, add bank card. This whole not validated card right here, and we set a card and we set not validated and we submit a not validated card. Where does all that stuff come from, right? That stuff comes from our operations, which is when you add a bank card, you take an account, you take a not validated card, and the result, if successful, will be a validated card. Else, you have an add bank card failure reason. Okay. Uh oh. Now what? Well, our test passed, but maybe we should. I mean, the bank card accepted should equal false, but maybe we should also test for the reason why the bank card was not accepted. And so, card with invalid number results in um, invalid card number error, right? And so here, uh, should that be reflected? If I go back to, I might delete that, but if I go back to add bank card, um, what do we have? We have a, we could add a property called error reason. This is bank card accepted, and that's a bool, right? But we don't have any type of error message. So we could do something like this and say, this should be error, right? And so this would be a error like that. And the error is going to be let mutable error equals, and then you have your something like that. Okay. And so Control Shift B's build, we want that to sync in. And for this right here, we have a view model dot bank card accepted. We want to change that property to a view model dot error should equal, and we'll have a invalid card number up here. Okay. Now what? Well, I have that test in here. The test is going to fail. This add bank card that execute, remember this causes submit, and we we have a attempt to add bank card. If it's, is this the same thing? Let me go back. Where's all the logic I had earlier? We have our not validated card. And for our card number right here, not only do we that's set to -1. If it's air, then we already had this broadcast to handlers, and that's probably the alternative of the logic that I just wrote for this new test right here. The message is at bank card failure. Yeah, that's already what I had right here. But I could also do something like this. I could also have done like message, and you put that into a function for a pattern matching. And that would have been, what options do I have for this message? This add bank card failure reason could be a card number, right? And if that was the case, then I could say that our x dot air equals, and then you could say invalid card number. Okay. And it's not an equal though, it's a mutate. And this is supposed to take some argument. Okay. And I guess I'm supposed to fill out all this other stuff too. So I can do this right here. Say, and come back. Do this over here. Shoot. Undo that. Okay. Bring it down here. Okay. And then go back up here. Go, yeah. Okay. And I can go like this. Okay. And this card number right here is actually down here, like that. And I need to have something like this. Oh, come back. Something like this. And this would be connection failed. And over here would be invalid holder name. And does this really need to be caps? No. So change that. Invalid card number should probably be lowercase, which means that in my tests, I could probably have invalid card number over here. Okay. And then go back. Invalid holder name, connection failed. All right. For expiration month, that could be a invalid expiration month. Okay. Expiration year follows the same suit. except we say year instead of month. Yes. Okay. Security code, we could say invalid security code, right? Security code like that. And all this is x dot air, right? So you got to say x dot air, and we want to mutate that to this right here, okay? And the card type, yeah, you could say x dot air, and then you can say within here you can say invalid. Uh, Shoot, come here, Willis. You could say invalid card type like that. Okay. Hungry hippos and something like that. Come here, like that. And you, my friend, you should probably go like that and like that. Okay, you bring everything down here like that. Okay, and anything else? You should go back here. Here? Okay. And anything else? Everything should still build. Okay. So we should now have within our account this invalid card number. This should pass now, right? Card with invalid number results in failed invalid card number error, or results in error message invalid card number, something like that. Okay. So if we execute this test, then we want this to go green. And it is green bendejo. Okay. So the part I love about this is we can do copy paste inheritance and just do that for all these other properties of a bank card. So we can control MO, collapse all that stuff, right? And we can start building up our test suite and say card with invalid what? Card with invalid expiration month. Results an error message, invalid, and then we can say expiration month like that. And we could just follow the same suit. Oh, yeah. Invalid down here. Error message should be expiration month, right? And so we could take this test and it should pass, but whatever. I'll find out later. And we should say a card with expiration year, right? Results in error message, invalid expiration year, like that. Okay. And we just noticed something. This mock dot some card number that should be back in place, right? But this expiration year should be blah blah like that. Okay. And so we should follow the same pattern for this expiration month test where our card number is now valid and we say mock dot some card number, right? But for the expiration month, we should say, this is the expiration month. So I did the wrong one in the expiration year. We should say blah, blah for the expiration year test, which is this right here, right? This expiration year test, we want to say we want to mock that some expiration month, which is down here, but for the expiration year, we want to say blah blah. Okay, so that should be straight. Now, what else, Willis? Well, I'll tell you. In addition to expiration year and expiration month that we get our free tests on due to our original test of the card number being invalid, we should also have a security code, right? Security code. Yes. So a card with invalid security code results in error message invalid security code. Come here, security code, something like that. All right. And so over here, we want to have a mock dot sum expiration year, some expiration year, right? But in this case, we want to augment the security code. That security code is going to be blah, blah. Hold up. It's going to be blah, blah. Okay. And what else? Well, I feel like this should be mock some card type up here. Mock dot some. I have a card type, some card name. Is that going to work? Uh, what is that? It should be something. Yeah. It's mock some card name. All right, so I could probably go ahead and update. Control ML. I could probably go ahead and update all the other stuff, right? So like this right here could be mock some card name. And so it should be blatant in the parent that when you look at a test, you know what is the context. And the context is this blah, blah, because it's the only thing that's hard coded. So over here, we follow the same thing. This can be derived from the book Test Driven, or not Test Driven. This could be, I think it's called, what's the name of that book? X Unit Test Patterns, right? That taught me how to write some unit tests the professional way. So we could do that over here. Yeah. And we can do la 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 la. We can do that over here. Yeah. And we just keep on going down here. Yeah. Okay. So we got all that. So what else, Willis? We got do we have a test for invalid bank card? I don't think we do, but we did card number, the holder name. We should write a test for. We covered expiration month, expiration year. But we got to do that card, the bank card, like the card name. That should be from a list box. So that shouldn't really matter. I'm going to omit that test, but the holder name needs to be provided. So we'll go over here and I'll do this right here and say card with invalid holder name results in error message invalid holder name, like holder name, like that. Okay. And so we could change this to mock dot some security code. And for this holder name, we can say blah, blah, like blah, blah. Okay. Like that. Okay. Oh crap. And I got to change all this. So invalid um, holder name. Okay. And all this other stuff I probably need to update too. So this security code is invalid security code. Okay. And we just keep on going down this list. And so this expiration year should say invalid expiration year. And I already know that expiration month is covered, invalid card number is covered. So Control MO, collapse everything. And in my add bank card, I don't think I accounted for a holder name for that to be validated. So we have holder right here, right? Um, no. That's done. I don't need that. but I'll keep it anyway. And type, this type right here is to type, and that's right there. And this to type should say, I should account for invalid. So I should say if when the card type pipes into to type, if I should say if card type pipe to type equals invalid, um, then I should say, shoot, I'm in the wrong part. Down here, I don't know. I'll run this test. I'm pretty sure that the card type is going to fail. So I have 12 tests. Now I have 16 tests. And they all the tests fail. So card with invalid expiration says expiration month, but was in, okay. Some card name, some card number. So this is failing because it says that expected string length was 24 but was 19. String differs at index 8. Expected invalid expiration month but was invalid card number. Some card number. It's this right here. Why did that fail? Let me go back over here. And I am going to, I'll put a breakpoint right here. And I'm also going to put a breakpoint right here. And I'm going to run this test again. And want to bet all those tests that failed are failing for the same reason. So card number is that right there. So when I do this, can parse int64, some number, true, then parse that number, and why am I getting -1 right there? Or is it, so what's this over here? Can I hover over here? No. Can I, we'll find out. True. Okay, so I'll go back up here again. Set next statement. Is validated card number. And I say can parse int64 for this text right here. And I call try parse 64. I said let mutable number equals 0L. And I say int64.parse. And I try to parse this. And that number is still 0. Why is that still 0? It's mutable. Some number. So that was true. Okay. So I can parse it. So then I say parse the number. And that should hit the card number when I parse it. So that was true. I don't know why it does that. Card right here. We see that we do have a card number. 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever, whatever. Okay, so that looks fine. And oh, this failed attempt. That's why I have a add bank card failure reads in card number. And this was hard coded in my test API. And so this is always going to, this is the reason for the failure. Um, yeah. What should have been done is all right, so I understand now. Fine. Let me just put this on here one more time. Boom, boom. If I run this, if I look at my call stat, that's why. So if I go over here, I can actually have, I should actually probably write uh-oh, I should, hold up, why is this hanging? Put this back. I should probably write another function called attempt, like that. And this will, the first one is the account, the other one's a not validated card. And this one, for add a not validated card, I should probably have some logic in here where I say in this case I have a let me see. Open account dot domain dot validated. Okay. So I have a account dot domain, and so down here for attempt, I want to say is validated dot expiration year, and I have your not validated card dot card dot expiration date year or something like that. So this right here can be called not validated, like that. Not validated.card. This takes a string, and this year is a digit. Invalid states unrepresentable. That's an int. So I can't use these validators over here. Yeah, I'm going to hold off on this right here. Something else is missing. Go to my add bank card. You have a submit attempt.add bank card, and that's assuming that this is an external system that's attempting to process the bank card that we want to add, and it's going to give us these errors. My test, it would be a good idea to run validation before submitting it. And so that's, if I go to my core over here, is validated, card number and expiration and all this, that should be done here. So it should be right before I attempt to submit the bank card to an external system. I should probably say let card equal, and it's a not validated card, okay, up here. And then I should just be able to say if card dot, or fuck, say not validated, okay. So then you can say if not validated dot card, okay, dot expiration date. See, all this stuff is, these are no longer strings anymore. So you can say if not validated dot card dot expiration date equals expiration date dot year equals the two-digit year -1, then what? Then we want to say x dot air equals invalid expiration year. Okay. Okay, now what? Well, you just do the same thing for the month. So expiration date dot month, and that month um, is already set. So in here I have expiration date, or I have month equals expiration month, which is a string 2 month. That 2 month, I should have a case for it being undefined right here. Okay, so you say if the expiration month equals undefined, then invalid expiration month, like that. Okay. And what else is there? There's a not validated card dot. What else? There's a security code. And I think if that's equals, how does this work? Security code -1. Security code -1. Then you say invalid security code. Okay. Is there anything else? There's also a holder name, but that's derived from the account, so I don't think that's needed. There's also a card type, so you can have a over here. You can have a which is going to be from a list in the user interface, but for right now, you could say card dot type. I think that's it. Yeah. If the card dot type, which we have over here, is invalid, okay, then you have invalid card type like that. And so I did expiration month, security code, card number, year. So this can be extracted to some method. Could it? I think it could. No, I'll leave it here. Well, no, it's its own method. So I say let validate equal, and then you have this over here. And you can say validate like that. Validate should be a function, something like that. Okay. And if we run this, run. I think I mentioned I need to beef up my laptop. Everything still fails. And it's the same issues because of our test over here. Um, get rid of you. This failed attempt is, I bet you I can, let me see. If I run this, there's 4 failed tests. If I run this, even though the successful attempt is misleading, yeah, that passes. Okay. So we can have a, not sure. Right now, I'll just focus on getting this stuff to pass. So I'll worry about the readability or confusion later. Run that. Okay. And this holder name, that test doesn't matter. It's that holder name is derived from, well, it doesn't matter. I guess I can examine it. So over here it says expected string length 19, but with 0 strings differ at index. So it looks like an exception was thrown, maybe. The error never got set. Okay. Add bank card. Validate. Folder dot. First name. And it's going to be. Do I even have a check for the first name? Holder equals holder. It just assumes that their first name. Do I even give an opportunity for their name to be on here? I have a name right here. Yeah, I do. So this holder right here, I would have to write a function that will mod. How do I say this? I would do something like this. I would say holder with, and then I don't know if it's first name equals, um, and it would be like, parse first name. something like that. And then it will be last name equals, and then it would be parse last name, something like that. Okay. And that would be accomplished by let parse first name, and this is name. I'm gonna have to do that because it's already listed above. And there should be like a name dot. How you do this? Name is already on here, right? That's this right here. It's a string already. So your name, which is here of types, it doesn't know what I'm talking about. All right. Name text. Okay, it's going to be of string. Okay. Your name text dot. Why- Oh, I'm missing the equal sign. Okay, that makes sense. So I should be able to say like name dot, and then it should be like a split, and I should just be able to say like that. I should say let um, items equal name dot split, and then I should be able to say, how do I say this? I should be able to say return first name equals items. Um, I think I do like items dot zero. Of course, you need to verify that it's not empty. So that's another test and more logic that I have to put in here. But you can say something like this. You could say if items, and I know I don't think you're gonna, well, you have length on here. If items dot length um equals, if items dot length is greater than or equal to 2, then we know we have a valid name, and we can say that then first name equals items dot zero. Okay. Else you can say first name is, well, if items dot length is greater than 0, then you have a first name at least. Okay. You have that. Now this probably wants a then part or a else part. Else you could say this could either be some first name or none. But we're just going to say if it's not greater than 0, then your first name is just going to be empty. Okay. So you can say first name, just that right there. So that's parse first name. And your parse last name is going to be the same thing, except it's going to rely on a different index. Okay. So your parse last name is if your items dot length is greater than one, um, or you could say if your well, yeah. Your parse last name is if it's greater than one, you're just going to take the last character or the last item in your list of items or array of items. So you would say over here, items dot length minus one. I think is how you would do it. And this is a multi-dimensional array. What are you talking about? The array is multi-dimensional, contains more than one. Say let last name index equal. Then you can say that right there. Items dot length minus one, like that. Okay, that was weird. And then you do this right here. So you have your something like that. Items dot length is greater than one. Then your last name is going to be that. Else your last name is going to be that. Okay. So this uh, IDK. This can probably this can probably be lifted up into our domain, but right now I'll do that later. Not validated car dot first name equals parse first name. Then we have error invalid name. And then over here we can have this will be last name, parse last name. That. And we could try to run this. And well, I never referenced the holder's name in here. Oh yeah, I did. Okay. And get an exception expected string length of 24, but whatever. And this is for, no, all this used to pass. Why does this fell all of a sudden? Expected string length 24, but was 12. Error is invalid name. Okay. Invalid name is Mike Jones. So if I go back over here, I can put a breakpoint there, put a breakpoint there. And go back over here, rerun this. And cardholder.first name is nothing. Neither is last name. And that's why it failed. So this not validated, which equals a not validated card, will have a holder. First name equals, let me see where I'm at. This got a non-validated card up here. Holder equals holder with first name equals parse first name, last name equals parse last name. And over here, let me see. That name should probably be x dot holder name dot split. Holder name, looking up information. That should be fine. This may allow the lookup to be resolved. I'm not sure what that's about. Same thing right here. That should be a holder name. X dot holder name dot split. Okay. Look up on object of intermediate type based on whatever. And so it doesn't like that. So I could do parse name like this, and then, or name text. Go back over here again. Name text is going to be string. And same thing over here. String. This is name text like that. And we say parse name x dot holder name. And then we'll say over here parse name x dot holder name. I'm interested in this right here. Put a breakpoint. And x dot holder name. And I'm not even sure what this logic right here is. If not, validated car dot holder name, holder last name equals, boom. Yeah, I don't even know about that. And run that. And holder name is not set yet. Holder name text, Mike Jones. First name equals first name Mike, and this is invalid name. So if not validated car holder first name, which is Mike, equals parse first name, which is x dot holder name, which should also be Mike. Set the error to invalid name. Last name, parse last name. And oh, we should have not equal. That's why. So I think the code works. Oh yeah, and OCD. That looks a lot better. The only thing left is this test right here. Card with invalid holder name results in error message, invalid holder name. And I think the difference is invalid name. Put invalid holder name. If I run that, hopefully everything should pass. And I could call it a night. Check this code in. Build succeeds and the test still fails. Why is that? It says expected string 19. So not validated card, if it's not equal to holder name is blah blah, and well, that's actually blah blah is a valid name. First name is blah, last name is blah. Um, if I do that and then attempt to run it, that should pass. That doesn't pass either. String differ invalid string dot empty. So if we run this in debug, we'll go here and just name.text is empty. And so over here, we'll our first name, if our first name not equal, you have to say if the first name is empty or, so you have to say this right here. You have to say if if parse first name whatever is not equal empty, it's not equal to first name empty, and not valid at card holders not equal to equal first name empty, or not validated card first name is not equal to whatever, then invalid. Okay. And take this over here. Up here. Last name parse last name. Okay. And this is me being exhausted and out of fuel. So I'm not able to think clearly to even do it in my head. I'm just relying on a compiler to tell me for me. That's finally green. Okay. So now what else can I do? I want to move this logic into an actual domain library. I don't want to have this business logic in my view model. But I learned that it's not easy to assign a property a value or assign a view model property a value that's contained inside of a completely different module outside of the view model. Now, what what could be done is we could say we could say something like this. We could say um, x dot air equals, and then you can say get air, uh, get air, and you say not validated card. Okay. Or you could say air on not validated card. And so then I can go into my account.domain, and I don't like this file name, but I can from here, um, this should be, these should be private. That should be private. This should be private. Let's find up here. And I should be able to say, what did I call this? Air on. So I could say let air on. And then this is a not validated card, not say card equals. And then you can say, something like that. It's not validated. Not validated card like that. And that will be this right here. And we can just boom, 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 boom. Okay. Now what? Parse last name. That is up here. I'm going to remove this, keep my view model thin. And so I can have a here, let private, hold up, go here. This could be let private, let private, like that. Okay. This first name, you should be found, that right there. Okay. And then it's missing an else branch. Else that, like that. 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 And that. Okay. Now what? It wants the holder name. So we could holder name like that. And just want to get this thing to pass, and then I can refactor it another time. Is that right there? That right there. Okay. So what are all these green squigglies? The result of this expression as type string is implicitly ignored. Consider using ignore to disregard this value. Well, I want you to return a string. Okay. So why is all this green? I want you to return the string. The indentation is off, but I don't think that should matter. Holder name is a string. That shouldn't matter either. Let error on equals if not validated dot card dot type equals invalid. The result of the expression has type string and is implicitly ignored. To discard this value, explicitly call expression ignored to. I'm not sure why it's complaining about that. I'm going to ignore that for right now. And then over here, I'm going to say error on, and this is going to be a x dot holder name. Fix that. Not validated card. This expression was expected of type non-validated card. It is a non-validated card. Not validated card. Or not validated. Okay. Like that. And up here, parse first name is actually is reference. Okay. Now what? If I attempt to build everything, I still don't know what these squigglies are about over here. If not card type, boom, return, like all this is fine. Everything builds. If I try to run my test, and it fails again. So in this case, error is empty. if I go up here, and I think I know why. So I think I know why. This is failing because all these are independent. So if not validated card dot type equals whatever, then invalid card type, then I could say else if, and I don't know, I'm not sure if it's else if or elif. Okay. And then elif like that. And then elif like that. And then elif like that. And that's pretty much it. So you do that, 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 and that. I still don't know why I have these squigglies on here. Um, I think it's definitely a, how to, oh yeah, this right here. And now all this stuff goes away. If I try to run this again, everything's green again. Okay. And that's going to wrap it up for this exercise. Okay. And yeah, let me see. Anything else I need to do over here? Control ML. These are all my tests. That looks fine. Close out the test in my core. That looks fine. Close out the core. Okay. This can now be deleted. Okay. So not validated equals not hard validate. Okay. Validate equals error on. Get errors. That's not what I want. In my domain, I have here get errors. Okay. I don't know. What's this right here? Not. I don't know what that is. That should probably be not validated. Okay. Just validate. That looks like it's pointless. Bring that up here. Hold up. Bring that up here. What else? All this over here is okay. Hold up. Okay. Bring that back over here. And I don't know what looks better. Doing this like this. And then maybe bringing all this down here. No, I'll leave it. Okay. And down here, down here, down here, down here. All that appears to be clean. My view model is at 100 lines. Okay, my imports, that stuff appears to be clean. These imports over here can be moved up here. Okay, that can be there. Okay, that. Would kill that. And all this stuff over here is fine. And over here, that stuff, oh, we don't need this here. Okay. And go here, here, here. Okay. And that is okay. And over here, that is okay. And over here, what's this over here? Provide non-supported pickup, communicates no ride available. Verify view model dot ride should equal none. Run this. Down here, is ride available should equal true. Oh, okay. Down here, run it again. No ride available. So providing non-supported pickup communicates no ride available. And we do this over here. So let's put a breakpoint right here. Is ride available equals true, even though it's an unsupported location. So why is that the case? Over here. And request ride. And if pickup is then current, boom, boom, boom. And destination is that. And you have this ride query. It's supposed to be a non-favorable ride query. That's where the issue is. So over here, we should have a mock request. That mock request by default is a ride query, which is favorable, but we want a non-favorable ride query. So we want to really do we want to do this. We want to say let request equals mock dot request with ride equal non, or you could say mock dot non favorable ride query. And so then we could do request right here, and that should succeed as a test. OCD is taking over. You should be aligned. Okay. Hold up. You should be aligned too. Okay, feels better now. Now what? Why did that fail? Mm, 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 mm. When you request a ride, it's this non-favorable ride query. Why is this non-favorable ride query still saying, oh, okay, none. Okay, that's fine. So it's going to hit this okay, but we should really be parsing this ride over here. Pending ride. Okay. And that pending ride, we need to pattern match on, in which we say pending ride dot function And then we do sum. If it's sum, then we can say that a ride is available. Actually, we could say a couple of things. We can say that the ride is available, and also that the x dot ride equals the ride. Okay. This is pending ride, and I don't know what you want me to call it R, right? I mean, R. Pending ride is it's a result of something. Okay, well, I'm not going to deal with that right now. Okay, and so then you have none, and that is going to be x dot is ride available. That's going to be false because it's none. Okay. And this should be lifted over here. Run all. And that's green. Okay, so cool. Not sure how that got out of sync. And we can delete you people over here. And all this is fine. And all this is fine. And we can check you in. And this was a major commit. And we could say edit error, edit validation logic. And that's it. And this is on GitHub Bismonger GitHub /Bismonger /get ride. I'm going back to sleep now. Okay. And stop broadcast.